It's debate day, or perhaps we should call it fight night. In Atlanta, President Joe Biden is going to face off in the first presidential debate against former President Donald Trump. And I'm joined today to discuss this with Byron York. And Byron, you had a discussion with President Trump just recently. You interviewed him, and he talked to you a little bit about the way that he was preparing. There seems to be a pretty big contrast between the way he's doing it and the way the president is doing it, right?
Oh yeah, there's an absolutely huge contrast. I went down there. It's been a couple of weeks now. On June 11th, went down to Mar-a-Lago to talk to the former president. But debate preparations, such as they were already well underway. And the way Trump has been doing it is we have this idea of a mock debate where they build a set and they have two lecterns and they pick some staff member to imitate Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton in 2016, and they have mock debates and they have all these briefing books and all of this stuff. And Trump just doesn't like that, and he doesn't prepare like that. You can say whatever for whatever reason, he doesn't prepare like that. So they have had a number of what they call policy discussions, where he has met with either experts on his own staff. For example, Stephen Miller knows as much about immigration as anybody in Congress or anywhere else. And also with members of Congress about other issues that were likely to come up. But basically what Trump said to me is, look, you got to know. You've got to know things by experience. You can't just read them in a briefing book. You have to have lived this stuff. I know all the leaders. You know, he always says he knows all the world leaders and gets along well with them. I know all the leaders, and I know what I know. And I'm going to base a lot of this on common sense. For example, you don't let people across the border by the millions without knowing who they are. And that's how I prepare. And I've done pretty well. I've been in, 15 or 16 debates, and I've won them all, although some people would question that with the first debate with Biden back in 2020.
Yeah, well, one of the things that he said to you was debating was kind of having an attitude. Now, I'm not sure quite what he meant about that, but some people would say he's sometimes brought too much attitude to the debates. And one of the things that I think that he probably needs to do is to recognize that he's not talking to a rally where he can just fire them up with the rhetoric. He's talking to the swing voters. He's trying to win over independents. So talk a little bit about his attitude and about his ability, such as you judge it, to drop the idea that he's talking to a rally and to talk to people who he needs to win but hasn't already won.
It's interesting. First of all, a lot of the answer to the question you just asked can be found by looking at the first debate between Biden and Trump. It was at the end of September of 2020. And if you remember, Trump actually had COVID at the time. We didn't know that. Trump was incredibly aggressive. He interrupted Biden left and right. Biden could not get a word in, so much so that a lot of people who were Trump supporters thought, wow, you're just being too aggressive. You've got to let him say something, if only then to refute it. So Trump was very, very aggressive, and he got a lot of negative feedback after that debate, including from his own staff and people who support him. So one kind of rule that he's going by this time is don't do that again. And in our talk, he doesn't come out and say, boy, I was wrong. I really messed up. But he did concede that he was overamped and went too far, overdid it in the first debate. And that he's not going to do that again, because he said in the second debate, there were only two back in 2020. In the second debate, he tried a much different strategy and got much better results. One thing that's going to be interesting about Trump's style is that the ground rules of this debate is being conducted in a CNN studio in Atlanta, and nobody's going to be in there. My guess is it's going to be Trump, Biden, the anchor people, and the technical people who are necessary to be in the room. There's no studio audience, and Trump always plays off the audience. And he told me, this is going to be a dead, sterile room. And with Trump, he tries things out and judges them by audience reaction. And even if it's a debate, he says, they give you feedback, they applaud or they don't
Right.
applaud.
Right.
And that's important, and he's not going to have it.
Yeah, one of the things that is very apparent is that, and he said this to you, is that he accepted the debate terms very quickly. That Biden wanted no audience. It was going to be the two CNN moderators who are widely regarded as being favorable to Trump. That was because, wasn't it, that he
the other way
wanted to
around,
make
favorable
sure,
to Biden.
Sorry, favorable to Biden. That was because, wasn't it, that he wanted to make sure that he didn't say no and then have Biden able to say, well, the guy wouldn't debate me. He wanted to make sure that he forced Biden to debate because he thinks that he can win just by being on the stage and hooking against Biden and with Biden, debating him for 90 minutes. That was his thinking, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, it happens so fast. I mean, Biden challenges Trump to a debate, and that's the news early in the morning of that day. And by lunchtime, Trump is accepted. And it was a very fast moving day. And a lot of people wondered, like me, why did he agree to do a debate with CNN? And then he agreed to do a debate with ABC. And these are not really Trump-friendly networks, or they're not really Trump-neutral networks. They've got a lot of people who are very against Trump in their commentary ranks. So why did he do it? And basically, I think he felt trapped into it. It's like he couldn't say no. Once the other guy challenged him to a debate, he couldn't really say no. So he felt the best thing to do was surprise them by just accepting it immediately. And then they would be roped into it. Now, I don't know who comes out the winner in that. Obviously, Biden took the lead in challenging the debate, first. But I think the bottom line is that they're both trapped in this. I mean, if one says, I want to debate on June 27th in Atlanta, I challenge you to a debate, and you don't show up, I mean, you're the guy who was scared to debate. So I think they're both roped into this thing.
Yeah, so I want to have a look in a second at a clip of Trump talking about Biden to a rally. And the reason I want to do this is that he really wants to mock Biden and his preparation, et cetera. And in the debate, we can pretty much assume that Biden is going to try and needle Trump to get him to behave in a way that is going to be to alienate voters. And given what you've told us about the debate and the format, and the moderators probably being strongly in favor of Biden, perhaps Biden will get some help in goading Trump by the moderators asking questions about January 6th and trying to put Trump in a corner.
As you know, it's been reported that right now Crooked Joe's gone to a log cabin to study, prepare. No, he didn't. He's sleeping now because they want to get him good and strong.
There's Trump. He's talking about Joe going to sleep and being jacked up on steroids or whatever it is he thinks that is going to keep Biden awake. He's mocking Biden. Can he avoid that in this debate? Do you think that he has the discipline? And do you think that how is that all going to play out? He loves to make fun.
He does, and he feels it's been really successful to him in the debates in 2016, and he feels it even worked for him even in 2020. And of course, he didn't do any Republican debates in this primary season. So no, there's definitely going to be some of that. Now, Trump has mocked Biden's preparation, like he's over preparing. I was mentioning earlier with the mock debates and the briefing books and all of that stuff. Trump really mocks that. And we'll see. This is one of these we'll see questions because Trump believes that winging it on the basis of your own experience is the best way to do it. And Biden is clearly doing a very fastidious, thorough preparation for this one particular event. And, we'll see which came out better. It's one of these things you don't know till it happens.
So it's just one final question, and it's really, I guess, the most important one. And what is it that each of the two candidates has to achieve with this debate? Presumably, it's got to do with Biden seeming competent and engaged and Trump seeming reasonable and not alienating. But I mean, talk a little bit about what they want to get out of this debate tonight.
Well, with Biden, I think it's definitely reassuring people about his age-related infirmities, his physical and intellectual ability to do the job for 4 more years. I think that's the biggest single concern voters have about Biden, and it's reassuring them on that matter that's so important with him. With Trump, it's always temperament. It's always voters' reservations about his temperament, because a lot of them think that he did a good job, and even if they don't want to give him credit, they think that things were going pretty well prior to COVID in the Trump administration. Always the reservations. I mean, if you go to Trump rallies, you go to any political events, the reservations that people have are about his temperament. So he needs to be, Trumpy in the sense that he's entertaining and sharp and can mock people and occasionally even be funny. But he's got to reassure them that he's really serious about this, and that he's not just going to go off in search of retribution or some other irrelevant priority if he's elected president.
Yeah. Well, it's something which, as you say, it's one of those wait and see. We'll just have to see how it comes out. There's going to be a lot of debate about it over the course of several weeks, no doubt, all the way through to the election, because this could really be a turning point. It could actually hinge the election, the debate between the two. The first debates generally are much more important than any subsequent debates. So we're going to talk about the campaign throughout the next coming weeks and months. And please join us again. Thank you very much, Byron. Join us again on Political Perspectives.